So I just returned back from spring break this past week, but on Tuesday, our second day back, was the beginning of our state standardized testing, which means this past week and the next 2 weeks, my schedule is going to be upended, which means my afternoon classes, usually my younger kids, some of them I will see in the morning, and then my morning students, typically my older students, I will now see in the afternoon at the end of the day. And I would not be lying if I wasn't on my last nerve by the end of the day, every day this week. And here's why. Because my older students that I typically see in the mornings, now they have an hour, hour and a half, maybe up to 2 hours of testing in the morning, then some learning, then some lunch and recess, and then they come to my room for the end of the day expecting to learn, but their brains are done. They are tired. And it reminded me of how different these last few weeks of school are compared to the beginning or middle of the year. So I want to talk about a project that I like to do in my classroom at the end of the year called project-based learning. Hi, my name is Erin. I'm a K-5 elementary music teacher in Northern Indiana, and I'm also the teacher author behind From Do Re Mi to You. And in this video, we are going to talk about project-based learning. So if you have not heard of project-based learning or PBL before, PBL is not just a music term, but really can be applied in any content area at school. Essentially, it is an inquiry-based, student-driven approach where kids dive into a topic that they care about. So in the elementary music room, this can look two different ways. It can be research-based or performance-based. So a research-based PBL, for example, could be researching a famous performer, composer, instrument, or musical genre. And they choose a composer or an instrument that they care about and they research it. Or you can have students choose a performance goal. For example, maybe if you have ukuleles in your classroom, a student can make a goal of saying, I want to learn 3 chords on the ukulele, and by the end of our unit, I should be able to play those 3 chords in a song and performance. Now, here's why PBL is a win-win for music teachers and students. Because let's face it, students by the end of the year, they start to tune out. They are tired, they're burnt out, especially when testing season hits. But when you give them something that is personal and relevant to them, they start to tune in. So here's why project-based learning works so well. For students, it encourages ownership and they start to work on their research skills, presentation skills, and sometimes, depending on how you set it up, their collaboration skills. And it connects the music class to their personal interests. And for the teachers, you no longer have to be the center of focus the entire class. Have you ever heard of the phrase, the sage on the stage? Well, you no longer have to be the sage on the stage. You can be the guide on the side. If you have students of varied different abilities, this project can be so easy to differentiate for varied learners because they can choose their own goals and choose their own projects. And again, this works so beautifully for testing season or end of the year burnout. With testing season, how many music teachers have to be quiet in their rooms and they can't play recorders or xylophones or drum circles, all the fun, noisy stuff. This can still keep them really engaged. Or if you have to have long-term subplans, maybe a maternity leave or a long leave due to a health problem, you likely won't get a teacher that has a music background. But a sub would not necessarily have to have a music background to be able to lead a project like this. With PBL, there is not a one-size-fits-all approach. How you do PBL in your classroom is going to greatly depend on how many students you have in your class, how much time you have to do this project and how many class periods, the space you have in your room, the resources and the materials, and honestly, also your personal capacity. So I know that there are some teachers out there that will have students choosing between multiple research and performance options, while other teachers, like myself, often just assign one research project to every student. So if you are new to PBL, or have limited space or large class sizes, I suggest starting with one research project. Stick with a focused topic like composers, instruments, performers, music genres, and then within that, build student choice. So for example, instead of assigning every student to research Mozart, let them choose the composer. So last year when I did this composer project with my 5th graders, I gave them a long list of composers that they could choose from. I had some from the Baroque era, classical, romantic, 20th century, but then I also had Broadway composers because I had some students that really love Broadway, movie composers or film composers, even video game composers. And I let the students choose a composer that really piqued their interest. So then once the topics are selected, then it's really crucial to break the project down into clear, manageable steps. Because here's the thing, students probably have done some research projects in their classroom, but still, they don't really know how to take a large project and break it down into clear, manageable steps. So they may need some help in how to organize their thinking and their work. So I suggest doing a research project alongside them so you can be a model and show them how to do it. I also really believe in digital tools like Google Slides. It just makes it easier for me and for them. So what I do for my projects is that I create a slide template that is pushed out to them on Google Classroom. So they get their own copy. And instead of worrying about how to lay out or format the project, they're just working on finding the content and plugging it in. And then from there, students can present their work in some way. Maybe you have them present live in front of the classroom. That's a really good skill to teach students. Or maybe you have them record a video of themselves going through the presentation and then sharing it on a secure digital space like Google Classroom or Seesaw to share with families. Now, when I find something in my classroom that works, I'm not going to keep reinventing the wheel. So I have created 4 digital research projects that I can use in my classroom, and I'm going to share them with you. These, again, are perfect for your upper elementary students or even maybe your middle schoolers if you have band, orchestra, choir, or general music as well. These are also really good, again, for long-term subs, maturity subs, testing season, or end of the year projects. So each of my research projects come with a 7-slide editable Google Slides template, which means they don't have to worry about the layout or the formatting. They just have to worry about the content and plugging that into the slideshow. It comes with a pacing guide for teachers as well as instructions for the students. I also provide a list of curated, reliable research links because students don't know how to really look up information online besides just typing in the Google search bar. It also comes with an editable list of topic choices, so you can either add more, take options away, totally up to you. And it comes with a completed sample project that you can use to model. Now, here are my 4 research projects that I have. I have a performer research project, which allows students to choose a performer from classical, pop, Broadway, country, and then they can explore that musician's background, their music, influence, and accomplishments. My composer research project was my OG, my original one, where they dive into the life and work of a specific composer from a particular genre, and then they present their findings in a creative, student-friendly way. Now, my instrumental research project is also really good for students who are either in band or orchestra, or maybe are preparing to join band or orchestra the next year. They can choose the instrument that they're going to play or a different instrument if they're joining choir, and then they can learn how the instrument works, its cultural role, and then create a slideshow to present to others. And then my genre research project has students looking at like the big picture of a genre and not just a specific performer. So students can choose from jazz, hip hop, folk music, classical, and then they can discover what makes that genre unique. Its instruments, the history, key artists. So you can check out all of these projects down below. I have links for each one, or you can get the whole bundle together for extra savings. So honestly, project-based learning in the music room is one of the best ways to connect classroom content to real-world meaning. You're giving students choice and empowering them with flexibility, but you're not sacrificing learning or depth. So if you're wanting to give project-based learning a try, especially for research-based project learning, you can check out the links down below. And if you have done PBL in your classroom, I would love to learn how you have done it. I always like to try new things. So if you do PBL in your classroom, share in the comments how you do it in your classroom. As always, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel so you can get the latest notification on new videos, and as always, happy musicking.